Welcome back to Illini Bears Talk. The Bears win 24-18 against the Los Angeles Rams, a much-needed win after a two-game losing streak to the Texans and the Colts. And I think there was a lot to talk about from this game. A lot of areas that the Bears improved in, still some areas of concern. But I think the number one thing we got to talk about right now is Shane Waldron and his bounce-back game. Um, Going after this Rams game, what do you think about Shane Waldron at this point? Were you happy about how the offense looked on Sunday? Where do you want him to improve still?
Yeah, so I think Shane Waldron took the criticism pretty well from DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, and Mercedes Lewis. They hosted basically where they just like held him in the corner and said, start calling our offense more aggressively. And I think it was a lot better. I definitely feel like DJ Moore needs to be utilized way better. His route concepts last game was not good at all. I think it was Sharp Football who posted it and just showed his route tree. But, for example, Odunze was able to have a very illustrious route tree against the Colts. So I definitely think he can incorporate more go routes, slants, deep crossers, stuff like that, instead of just all the way out, just running a go route every time, for example. But I think he was pretty receptive to the criticism. As you guys know, I really like how he admits, at least to the public, that he's the one at fault, not his quarterback, not his wide receivers, that he is not good enough. And yeah, I really liked how Waldron called the game for sure. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with his aggressiveness. I'm happy that Roshan is being folded more into the mix, and I'm really happy that he found a way to unlock DeAndre Swift's explosiveness because I know a lot of people were very, very harsh on him the last 3 weeks. And I mean, I guess you could say rightfully so, but we forget that, I mean, we signed him to be an explosive player. That's what Ryan Poles said. He's not the chunk yardage, get you 4 or 5 yards on first down. He's a running back that can take a screen pass for 30 or explode for a 40-yard rushing touchdown. That's what we're looking for in DeAndre Swift. And you could tell once that element of our offense was unlocked and you had Roshan getting good yardage on early downs, that's when you really saw like the offense explode into, a decent offense, like much better than what we were seeing. 24 points, and we didn't even score in the first quarter. So like we ended the game really well. 2 straight touchdown scoring drives to end the game before we punted to them to close out the game. But what I'm also really liking is Caleb Williams is doing exactly what we haven't seen Chicago Bears quarterbacks do throughout, this entire, I guess, my entire life watching the Bears, which is just be a consistent ball distributor. And I mean, on third downs, first downs, he's getting the check downs. He's moving through his progressions really fast. And I was saying this to Sam. I'd rather have a quarterback who doesn't flash but makes the right play every time. Maybe his accuracy is lacking for sure, but he makes the correct read. He's processing the field more than a quarterback who could have those insane flash plays, hyper accurate, but is not seeing the field correctly. I think that's the number one trait you want to see in Caleb Williams, and he's showing it right now.
Yeah, he's definitely he can definitely just see the field very well. And I also told Rami this off camera that touchdown pass to DJ Moore was extremely, extremely advanced. Yeah. His first read was Gerald Everett on a slant. He looked at it, and that was facing the left, so I guess this way. So he was tilted like this. And then he saw that the slant was covered, so he looked over for literally less than 0.2 seconds, and the ball was already out, and a perfect spiral to a covered player. And DJ Moore made a play, but it was a perfect ball. So I was very, very, very impressed with that. I mean, and just his pocket presence there too is like crazy. Like I saw people like it's always a trend where whenever any Caleb does anything, people say Justin Fields would have gotten sacked, but I genuinely believe Justin Fields would have ran out of that pocket or have gotten sacked because he stood tall in the middle of the pocket while it was collapsing and made that throw. I haven't seen that. Thing is, Fields would feel the pressure and start running and then make a play. but Caleb just stood tall in the pocket and lasered one into DJ Moore, and it was a great throw. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, he's so well. I love like I've seen this every game. He's so brave in the pocket. It's really, really refreshing to see.
Yeah, it really
His internal clock is he's very, very poised. Um, like there were many, many times where like he was completely surrounded by the offensive line getting pushed into him, and he just stood there and he made the throw. And that's exactly what you want to see from a ball distributor. And I know a lot of people are a little disappointed in the explosive plays. You know, that's what he was known for in college was the scrambling ability, throwing on the run, different arm angles. Um, I would say that's definitely coming. He has that talent. He just hasn't had the opportunity yet to display that. Whether it's the offensive line, his accuracy hasn't been great, but there's going to be a regression to the norm for sure. And another stat I want to throw out there is that Caleb Williams is 7th in the league in average depth of target when he has a clean pocket. So I think what that tells you is, yeah, right now it's a really short game, you know, getting the ball out quick. But I think Waldron will unlock this offense once we can trust further that the offensive line will stand tall and give him a clean pocket. So I'm not like too impatient about the explosive plays. I expect him to come as soon as this offense gets going. Another thing I wanted to talk about was this defense because they deserve a lot of respect for how they've been performing in the first quarter of the season. I was very worried about Sean McVay against Matt Eberflus in that coaching matchup, but Sam, what do you think about Matt Eberflus actually beating an elite head coach and an elite quarterback in Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay?
So, contrary to popular belief, I mean, I don't. I obviously think Sean McVay outcoached us for sure. I mean, it's always going to happen. Matthew Stafford was definitely able to move the ball down the field pretty easily. Like, if you guys did watch the game, they had no issues moving the ball, hitting soft zones, open spots in the zone coverage. He had no issue doing that. And he did this with Tutu Atwell, and I don't even remember. There's like number 86 with
I know what's his name.
That's the thing.
Funny name.
I can only imagine what Matthew Stafford would have done with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. But
True.
He's an elite quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I would say like eight offensive starters are on IR. So I'm not saying that we got luck or anything, but we definitely got blessed that we weren't against Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua because there was a couple plays Jalen Johnson let up a catch, which was pretty rare. So Matthew Stafford is an elite processor, but I still think that Sean McVay was like a coaching genius. He was able to get so much production out of this bottom level talent. It's the worst wide receiver core in the league with their 2 top wide receivers injured, and they had 2 starters on the O line injured. So I still think people are saying that Matt Eberflus cannot beat a elite quarterback. He is an elite quarterback, but his whole team was injured. So I still don't think this is like a crazy feat for him. I'd honestly say the Texans game was a bigger feat on defense because they had C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. Yeah, that was very, very impressive. Even though we lost, we held that defense 3 points in the second half. Like that was very, very impressive. I did like the blitzes though, but I still will stand proud with this take that Matt Eberflus is not the guy for us. And the reason why we have an elite defense is honestly from Ryan Poles. This defense was good, was not developed talent by Matt Eberflus. Jalen Johnson was already on the team before he came. Montez Sweat was traded for. We signed TJ Edwards. We signed Tremaine Edmonds. We developed Tyreek Stevenson, sure. He's a liability one-on-one. Kyler Gordon's good. I'll give Kyler Gordon. Jervon Dexter's definitely amazing. Jaquan Brisker.
He had an amazing game on Sunday. You can't even deny.
I mean, regardless, this defense, regardless of who would be coaching him, would be good in my opinion. I don't think Matt Eberflus is elevating dusters. I don't think he's elevating losers who suck. and his defensive like for example, Brian Flores is a way better defensive head coach than Matt Eberflus. It's not even a question either. This Vikings defense is elite, and we have more talent on our defense. You agree with that?
So, I mean, we can have a conversation.
You agree with that? No.
I do agree. Like, I mean, Brian Flores might be the best defensive coach in the game right now. Just, I mean, the Vikings don't have like a lot of household names, and their defense is looking the way they do. But there's a thing to be said about Matt Eberflus still transforming this defense. I mean, every game they've had a takeaway, at least one, and they've had multiple takeaways in 3 out of 4 games. Red zone offense is key. Rams only scored 1 touchdown on 4 red zone drives.
That's very good. I like that.
This defense is, and I'll say this, the offense looked the way it did this Sunday against the Texans and against the Colts. Those are 2 easy wins right there and then. If the offense played the way that it did, and I will gladly have the conversation about whether Eberflus or this is the right coaching staff to pair with Caleb Williams and his potential, because I would lean to agree with you. Like, maybe this isn't the best coaching staff when you think about who's hoisting the Lombardi Trophy and Caleb Williams holding that. Is Matt Eberflus standing next to him? Is Shane Waldron standing next to him? I'll lean to say no. But if you want to tell me that Matt Eberflus, in terms of the job that he's done for this team, is a fireable offense, I wouldn't agree with you there, because the defense has been very, very good. And the Rams did just come off a win, an insane comeback win against the 49ers, who still are an elite team despite their record and how they started off the season. I have no doubts that they're going to be going deep into the playoffs. So this is not a Rams team to take lightly.
I think it was the Cardinals.
Which game?
The Rams versus Cardinals.
No, the Rams got blown out by the Cardinals, and then they came back at home and they defeated the Niners in a huge comeback.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Sean McVay, incredible coach. At least we know, sure they're injured, sure everything, but at least we know Matt Eberflus, this defense isn't a fluke. I'll say that. I'm very confident in saying that this isn't just a defense that has benefited off very easy opponents. They're here to stay.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with that. But I mean, still the same stuff. I think I like how this defense is bend, don't break. We are very good red zone defense. We allow field goals, but yeah, I mean, we'll take it week by week. I think this defense is still good, but I think he's a good defensive coordinator, not the best head coach. I guess we'll agree to disagree for now.
Yeah, and I'll say this. 2 games coming up before the bye. The Panthers next week, the Jaguars after. There's a time for this offense to start really rolling, and for Caleb, and this is what I said when the schedule came out. Caleb Williams not going to look like Caleb Williams the first 4 weeks, but you're going to start to see this offense come together. And if there's a game for this offense to really put it together, it's going to be next week against the Panthers and the Jaguars, and you're off a bye, and then look at you. You got hopefully an offense that is progressing into one of the better units in the league. So
Jaguars in London, they're winless right now. We'll see if they get a win against the Colts. But I think there's definitely signs of encouragement. This game was the perfect turnaround for what we saw against the Colts. So I think all Bears fans should be very happy with what I saw on Sunday. And with that, we'll be here next Thursday or Friday to preview the game against the Panthers. Bears versus Panthers. Newsflash, we will be winning that game.
I'll be there rooting them.
Perfect.
All right. Bear down.
See you guys later.